Warning, the music is scary, but you're grown, so shut the f*** up. We just like the cinematic experience. Get out your ass feelings about this channel. Industry hoax does not give a f*** what you're scared of. It's only a video. Turn the lights on if you can't handle it. Mute it, turn it, unsubscribe. Salute to the real supporters.
Is it my turn to wish you were lying here? I tend to dream you when I'm not sleeping. Is it my turn? Fiction at my world. Even imagine your emotions. Tell myself living.
If you say, what do I mean by that? Well, we got members that are from all different geographical regions throughout the...
What's up, y'all? What's up? Smooth Eddie Humphrey in the house. That's right, Eddie Humphrey, but y'all probably know me as Humpty Hump.
I like to rhyme. I like my beats funky. I'm spunky. I like my oatmeal.
Keep it up,
lucky. I'm
Humpty.
sick with this.
Yeah, he's got style, don't he? Humpty's nice.
I'll eat up all your crackers and your licorice. Oh, yo, fat girl. Come here, are you ticklish? Yeah, I called you fat.
Where'd you get this character from, man?
Is that cool? Yo, Shock, how was that?
I like the first one a little bit better.
First album Digital Underground released with Tupac. Notice how Humpty Hump and Shock G are in a Masonic black and white checkerboard pattern shirt because he is two different people. Duality. Introduced as divinity and royalty, the Masonic checkerboard floor is a symbol of the order and its rituals. Black and white represents duality, good and bad, yin, yang, the sacred, profane, and is interpreted as symbols of the evil and good of human life. Notice Tupac's is dancing on the floor of duality. He takes it a step further. Notice he has black and white shoes. Duality.
Satisfy both sides. I'm a Gemini, so I can handle the little double personality type. You know what I'm saying? It ain't nothing.
Let's break down the symbolism behind his first and last album covers.
Is it my turn to wish you were lying here? I tend to dream you when I'm...
The 7 Day Theory album, it's packed with Masonic symbolism. Not only that, but his Tupacalypse Now album is too.
Is it my turn? Fiction at my world.
Let's start with the Tupacalypse Now album.
Even imagine your
On the cover you can see him surrounded by 4 men in black hoods. These men represent the 4 horses riders of the apocalypse. War, civil strife, hunger and death.
4 horsemen of the apocalypse.
A rider on a white horse, on a red horse, on a black horse, and on an axe horse. All bring horrible things.
If the prophecy has begun, then the terrors these 4 horsemen bring have already arrived. The Antichrist.
He'll come preaching peace. This will be a person who will be so persuasive and such a lover of peace that people will be drawn to him and say, let's let him lead us instead of all these politicians.
The word apocalypse is defined as a widespread destruction or a prophetic revelation of revealing hidden information. The presence of 4 horsemen signify the revealing of a prophecy. Thus this album cover is the introduction of Tupac's Black Jesus prophet character, because the presence of the 4 horsemen signify the revealing of a prophecy. See those black hoods that the 4 men are wearing that are completely covering their eyes. This is the Masonic initiation ritual of hoodwinking, where they cover the initiate's eyes to induct the candidate into acquiring the disclosure or revelation of new knowledge. Hood means head covering, such as hat, helmet, hood, and wink means to close the eyes or wince. Thus a hoodwink is a headdress that covers the eyes during an initiation ritual. Tupac's Black Jesus, initiating the 4 men with his prophetic revelation on the perils of the black community. Police brutality, violence, murder, gun violence, poverty, etc.
Let's talk about the reality of police brutality. Let's talk about the reality of a situation like Rodney King. It's songs talking about strong black men fighting back, you know what I'm saying, against an oppressor.
You'll notice that the words Tupacalypse Now is colored in blue and red on the album cover. Tupac is colored blue, while the ellipse now is colored red. Think of red, blue Masonic lodges. Red, Blue, Bloods and Crips. It was styled on the Black Panther Party, which was formed 3 years earlier by Agent Huey P. Newton and Agent Bobby Seale. It's all Masonic, hence why the Crips and Bloods rap album cover shows both gangs standing on the checkerboard floor.
Is it my turn
Red is the color of the regeneration of life and the rebirth reform of souls, whereas blue is the sacred color of divinity, immortality and universality. An apocalypse is an announcement of a revelation. A revelation is a disclosure of information to man by a divine or supernatural agency. Thus, Tupac's name was in blue, the color of divinity, on the album cover, because he is supposed to be the proverbial Black Jesus, giving a divine message or prophecy on the troubles of the Black community. He's supposed to be the messianic leader figure, divine voice of his people fighting against the corrupt system.
And well, that's what this is. It's just soul music. It's like music for us to carry on with, for us to move on. It's battle songs. It's songs talking about strong black men fighting back, you know what I'm saying, against an oppressed. You never hear me say a song about me just walking up and shooting a cop. It's always provoked, you know what I'm saying? It's always self-defense. And I want to get that strength back.
The Tupacalypse Now album is named after the film Apocalypse Now, a movie about a US government military official being sent on a mission to assassinate a colonel who established himself as a god messianic figure. This is identical to people's idea that the government was on a mission to murder Tupac once he debuted, because he was exposing them, because he was a prophet and was going to lead the black community, so the government killed him. The Illuminati was after him, so they assassinated him, and so forth. Coincidence? Nope. It all goes back to COINTELPRO. They wanted to counter the possibility of a black messianic figure rising from poverty to lead and electrify the black community. To stop this from happening, they manufactured one themselves. Who did they choose? Tupac. The messianic Black Jesus symbolism on his first and last album and throughout the rest of his career and artwork is a reference to all of this, him being created to be a faux prophetic leader, rebelling against the government, hence why he was named after Tupac Amaru, a rebel who led an uprising against the government. The story of Jesus is a collection of allegorical stories meant to personify an entity as a hero. The Jesus storyline gets copied over and over whenever the elite manufacture hero figures, because it is a universal narrative that people have already been programmed to respect. You know how they say Jesus was killed by his own people? That's what they were trying to convey by having Tupac Black Jesus killed by gangbangers through his affiliation with Death Row, making it seem like he was murdered by one of his brothers like Jesus. Plus, it is likely an inside joke given that the Bloods and Crips were created from the Black Panther Party when they disbanded. If you notice, Tupac's scripted life story followed this Jesus narrative to a T, because it is what effectively built his character up as a Black Jesus prophet leader. These symbols are powerful and have manifested on a subconscious level to his fans and listeners, hence why they believe him to be a literal martyr. April 4th. Easter is the most important Christian festival of the year. It's when Christians celebrate the resurrection of Jesus Christ. The Bible says that Christ died on the cross on a day called Good Friday. According to the Bible, Jesus was then resurrected and came back to life on Easter Sunday. Hence, this is why they resurrected Tupac 11 days after Easter. April 15. A hologram of Tupac performed on stage during the 2012 Coachella. And what's the first song they chose to perform? Hail Mary. Listen to Hail Mary where he chants, God said he should send his one begotten son to lead the wild into the ways of the man. Follow me. Eat my flesh, flesh of my flesh.
And God said he should send his one begotten son to lead the wild into the ways of the man. Follow me. Eat my flesh, flesh of my flesh. And God said he should send his one begotten son to lead the wild into the ways of the man. Follow me. Eat my flesh, flesh of my flesh.
Or blasphemy, where he says they say Moses split the Red Sea, I split the blunt and roll a fat one, I'm deadly. Babylon beware.
They say Moses split the Red Sea, I split the blunt and roll the fat when I'm deadly. Babylon beware. Babylon beware.
Tell me I ain't God's son, mama virgin.
Tell me I ain't God's son, nigga mama virgin. Tell me I ain't God's son, nigga mama virgin.
Or more importantly, brothers getting shot, coming back resurrected.
Brothers getting shot, coming back resurrected. Brothers getting shot, coming back resurrected.
Look at the title of his film called Tupac Resurrection, released 7 years after the metaphorical death. Thus he came back after 7 years, just like how Jesus is supposed to come back after 7 years. Look at the logo for the All Eyes on Me film, which was a cross. Notice at the end of the movie they played gospel music.
When Jesus died for you and me. This is what he's done. He had.
Look at the events in his scripted arrest, trial, death, crucifixion, and resurrection. Look at how the character died on Friday the 13th, Good Friday, just like Jesus. Look into how he claimed he was shot 5 times, just as how Jesus received the 5 holy wounds.
I got shot 5 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You know what I mean? And I got crucified to the media. You know what I mean? And I walked through with the thorns on. And I had shit thrown on me. And I had the thief at the top. I told that nigga I'll be back for you. And trust me, I'll be back. So I'm not saying I'm Jesus. But
this was not done by accident. Symbols have a powerful effect on our subconscious mind, and people familiarized with the story of Jesus will subconsciously pick up on the similarities and begin to associate Tupac with Jesus as they've already done. Look at how many Pac fans say that he was a prophet, a reincarnation of Jesus.
Searching for black Jesus, sporting jewels and shit, you know what I mean? Straight tatted up.
We believe in you for everything you do. Just wanna let you know how we feel. Like Jesus.
We believed in you for everything you do. Just wanna let you know what you mean. Like Jesus.
The name of the album was titled The Dawn Illuminati, 7-Day Theory. In the background of the 7-Day Theory album cover there is a black sky. Black is the symbolic color of death and the hidden and unknown. The Machiavelli album cover shows Tupac being crucified, which represents the death of his character, Tupac passing into the realms of immortalization and eternalization through its allegorical death, but the physical man remains existing, symbolizing a resurrection. Suge Knight called himself Simon on the 7-Day Theory album. Simon was an apostle who witnessed the resurrection and witnessed Jesus coming back to life, and Simon's presence represents the fulfillment of a messianic prophecy, hence why Suge Knight, also known as Simon, was the person Tupac was last seen alive with in the last car photo. The 5 holy wounds are the 5 piercing wounds that Jesus received during the crucifixion. On the Machiavelli album cover you can see that Tupac receives 5 wounds, 2 wounds in both of his hands, 2 in both feet, and the 5th wound is the gunshot wound below his breastplate. One of his fingers is pointing to the letter E, and also pointing to the 7th red marking at the top of the album. E is the 5th letter in the English alphabet. 5 is the number of dominion over the natural forces of the spirit to reach a state of eternity and immortality. 5 symbolizes life from the physical plane to the spiritual plane. Note that on the Machiavelli album cover, the water lake behind him is red. This reflects the blood of Christ or the sacrificial lamb as the means of redemption of humanity, hip-hop. There is also a compass on the very top of the cross that Tupac is being crucified on. The compass is a Masonic emblem of the heavens and the mortal spiritual nature of man, symbolizing the transition from life to death. And that's it. The programming or prophecy is complete. He fulfilled the role, his character died and became immortalized. Fans view him as a prophet who was killed by the government, which is the exact storyline and plot of the film Apocalypse Now that his debut album was named after. He is the god of rap who was crucified by the media and killed off or sacrificed before he could start a political party and lead his people.
By the next election, I promise. By the next election, I promise. I'm gonna be sitting across from all the candidates. I bet you we will have our own political party.
These words and names are being used in hoaxes, folks. You understand? And the son is being used in hoaxes like Charles Mann's son, and you got O.J. Simpson and Fred Goldman. You understand, folks? Oh, and by the way, you're gonna see a lot of the Christ and the Ram and the Son in these rappers. The Jew puppets, and make fools out of themselves and make people think that they're feuding and killing each other, but of course it's all a game, folks. So you got remember I told you Tupac never died, he was never murdered, it's a hoax 100%. Anyway, Tupac Amaru Shakur was his name, and you got the ram right there. The ram is Satan, so the serpent is the Satan. Anyway, his name is Tupac Amaru Shakur. So you got the ram, and who was he with that night he was supposedly killed? He was with MARION Suge Knight. That's right. So you got the ram and MARION. You see what I'm talking about? He's got the ram and he's got the ram. And they were there to watch a boxing match. And who was boxing that night? It was Mike Tyson. So you got the son again right there. And then after the match, somewhere after the match, they had a scuffle with a gang member. And what was this gang member's name? His name was Orlando Anderson. Another son, folks. And then what happened after the scuffle, folks? They were driving on Flamingo Road. That's right, folks. Flamingo, you got the lamb right there in Flamingo, folks. And wherever there's a lamb, there's gonna be a sacrifice, folks. That's right, because the Jews love to sacrifice the lamb. And you know who the lamb is? That's Christ, because the Jews killed Christ, folks. That's right. And where is the Christ? It's, look, folks, Christ is right here, right under it. The sergeant who came after they were shot. That's right, folks, they were shot. Both of them, MARION, Suge Knight, and Tupac were both shot multiple times. Yeah, right, he wasn't shot. They're full of Anyway, so you, like I said, you got the lamb, and then who came to the scene? The officer. His name was Chris Carroll. So you got the CC right there, folks. You got the CC for the 33 hoax code. And of course you have the Chris for the Christ. And what was Tupac's final words to this sergeant? Because the sergeant says he was asking, who shot you, Tupac? And Tupac told him, fuck you. That's right, folks. Who do you think they're saying fuck you to? They're saying it to Christ. Don't you understand? That's how sick they are.
The street, Flamingo, that Tupac metaphorically died on, was not a coincidence. It served an esoteric purpose in his exit story, as it is also symbolic of death and rebirth. In Egyptian mythology, the flamingo became Bennu, who was the inspiration for the phoenix bird in Greek mythology. Bennu is an ancient Egyptian Kemetic deity symbolizing creation, the sun, and rebirth. The flamingo turned into Bennu, which turned into Phoenix. Phoenix symbolized the obtainment of a new life by arising from the ashes of its predecessor and being reborn. The flamingo phoenix symbolizes rebirth and resurrection, as well as death and revival. Thus, by the physical man still being alive, he was resurrected from the ashes of his deceased character. The Vegas incident is emblematic of his revival, rebirth, and metaphorical death. They shrouded this whole thing in a very esoteric coded language.
Anything that I would not do, since I die without you. Since I die without you. Oh, I apologize for all the things I've done. Now I'm underwater and
Tupac's Exodus cross tattoo on his back reads, Exodus 1831. The word Exodus means the mass departure of people. Exodus 1831 specifies different theories. He claimed that this was in relation to Nat Turner's rebellion. One theory states that it refers to a verse from the Bible. However, the Bible, chapter 18 finishes with verse 27, so Exodus verse 1831 is non-existent. But the verse below Exodus 16:31 reads, And so the people rested on the seventh day. Thus, the 7-day theory. Tupac rested on the 7th day from September 7th to September 13th. Tupac also has skull and bones tattoo on his arm. The skull and bones is Masonic. It is a symbol of mortality. Symbolically, it indicates that death is a doorway, not to be feared. Hence, why below the skull tattoo it says, My only fear of death is being reincarnated. This tattoo says, Be ambitious with love. While young, it's a skull goon with a bandana over its mouth and a money sign on the beanie that he is wearing. When he says be ambitious with love, he is referring to the love of money, hence why the goon is holding a scale with money in its hand. The scale represents equilibrium, precise measurement. The balance scales was needed to ensure equilibrium and justice in the monetary exchange, so he expects to get paid in accordance with the effort that he puts into playing the role. Bandanas being worn over the mouth symbolizes hiding the identity, thus he is hiding who he truly is. So this tattoo just symbolizes his chase for money, selling himself out for the almighty dollar, and hiding who he truly is. There's a baby on one side of the scale and bars of gold in the other side of the scale. That symbolizes him being born into the role, and will be monetarily rewarded for it, thus it creates a balance. He also has a tattoo of Jesus being crucified on a burning cross with the words, "Only God can judge me" next to it. The burning cross is used as a declaration of war. He also has skulls next to the crucifix. Skulls symbolize death and mortality. So he's declaring war and death on Jesus and clearly has some sort of remorse behind it, hence why he defends himself by saying, "Only God can judge me." Then there's the Nefertiti tattoo with the words "to die for" written below it. Nefertiti was married to Akhenaten, an Egyptian pharaoh who is believed to be Moses of the Bible. Moses led the exodus of the Israelite slaves out of Egypt and across the Red Sea. So there's another connection to the Exodus tattoo on his back.
The reign of Nefertiti and her husband Amenhotep IV was a turbulent time in Egyptian history. The couple tossed out the old gods and set up a new religion that gave them absolute power over all their subjects.
Tupac's euthanasia logo is a fallen angel. The fallen angel is an angel that fell from grace, kicked out of heaven. Hence, the bolts of lightning out of the night sky towards his grave on the Hail Mary video. In the Bible, the angel, Satan, Lucifer, is said to have fallen to earth like a bolt of lightning. This speaks of the myth of the war in heaven and the battle between the forces of Lucifer and those of Michael, the latter being the angel who struck down Lucifer, casting him down onto the matrix of the earth. Snake is a serpent. Tupac's name means shining serpent, in the form of piano keys around the fallen angel's body. Lucifer is a fallen angel, who was the head of the ministry of music in heaven, when he was in heaven. It has been said of him he was the most beautiful of all angels, and he was the director of the flow of music there, praise and worship. No one can say that Pac wasn't praised or worshipped. Let's face it. It's the devil, Lucifer, Satan, that they sell their souls to for fame. The halo is symbolic of rings of Saturn. In the past, Saturn was the worshipped planet as the god. Hence you get the name Satan. All words derive from sound, so Satan and Saturn sound the same, but spelled differently. Saturn is the seventh planet from Earth. Saturn is also where Saturday comes from. Also the seventh day of the week, not Sunday like Christianity and other religions claim. Sunday is the first day. Don't forget God said let there be light. What provides our light? The sun. September 7th 96 was a Saturday. The seventh day. Lucifer, Saturn, Satan, as Lord of the Rings. What is a halo? A ring. No good angel would wear a halo. They only depict all angels having halos to deceive and confuse. Lucifer called his band of fallen angels immortals. What did Tupac call the outlaws? Outlaw immortals. What do the elite strive for? Immortality.
Niggas, you fucking nuts. Do you know who the fuck we are? Nigga.
Why would a good angel have a snake, serpent around him? Why have a fallen angel medallion if he was supposed to be a soldier of God?
And that Tupac worked like a demon to make sure that he had, and that Tupac worked like a demon.
666, it has multiple meanings. It represents the Merkaba, the Star of David, the 6 protons, 6 electrons, 6 neutrons, carbon-12 structure that composes human DNA. Christians get the number 666 from the verse in Revelation 13:16. The hand sign where you hold 3 fingers up, the circle also represents the female genitalia and means infinity or perfection. Others believe that it is the sun deity, Lucifer, the goddess and the beast, Antichrist, 666, all in one unitary hand sign. It's an ancient Masonic hand symbol. Here's how they define it. Yoni is simply their method of vowing mutual friendship, and is similar in meaning to swearing by the grasping of the phallus, and like our uplifted hand, and like when taking an oath is an appeal to the divine creator as a witness of truth and goodwill. This is an ancient and modern symbol, often worn as an amulet. It contains libations which are poured upon the phallus, but more especially upon the prolific womb. So yes, people will define it differently, since it has become a universal hand symbol meaning okay. Christians see it as the mark of the beast, whereas Freemasons view it as a symbol of the female genitalia. The circle made with the fingers represents the vesica piscis, which is the shape of the vulva. It represents the prolific womb which when combined with the phallus represents divine creation.
I ain't stopping till the show is over, 'cause I'm a rider in and out just like a robbery. In and out just like a robbery. I'll probably be a freak and let you get on top of me.
When he does that hand sign, he says in and out just like a robbery, which ties into the Freemasons' meaning. So that was a Masonic hand gesture depicting the vulva, which combined with a phallus equals sexual intercourse. It's an ancient occult symbol that symbolizes the female genitalia.
Our relationship was really a relationship that we searched for knowledge, we explored together. And I'll just tell you a book right now, it's been around for a long time. It's called Ponder on This.
Tupac studied writings of Alice Bailey. Satanist Alice Bailey allegedly created a 10-point plan, and here's some of those plans.
Number 1, take God out of church. Number 3, destroy the Judeo-Christian family structure. 6, make homosexuality alternative lifestyle. Number 8, use media to change the mindset. Number 10, get government to make all of these laws and get the church to endorse these changes.
The fake stories about him shooting 2 cops and the fake stories of him starting a political party. It's all lies and fiction to convince people that he was an activist for the black community, so that when he is killed off, it will look as though the government assassinated him. That's it. You've manufactured and created a hero. It's social engineering at its finest. Build someone up and then pretend to kill them off. And then you worship them.
Real son, is it really real son? Let me know it's real son, if it's really real. Man from the Wu-Tang Clan, I'm tactic, coming for the headpiece. When I was a little stereo, bustin' at me, bro, now bustin' it down like it's buck wow. Method man on some shit, pulling niggas foul, sick. Now you listen to the dog, like the dog on Solorin.
Expect me, nigga, like you expect Jesus to come back. Expect me, nigga. I'm coming.